Hi again, everyone. It's Courtney, and today I have a WIP update for you. It's been about a month. I guess it's the middle of September right now. It's been about a month since I posted my first video, so I have made some good progress to show you. Not on all my pieces. There were a few that I didn't work on at all, but two that I have made progress on. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you that. The first one, I know a couple of you have said you've been eager to see, and I'm really excited to show this to you because it's so beautiful. I finished Voyage, which is a pattern by Satsuma Street, and I'll insert a picture of how it was the last time I showed it to you. And here it is, all complete. Look at that. Look how colorful that is. I'm very proud of how this turned out, and I'm very grateful to Satsuma Street for such a beautiful pattern. Like I mentioned in my first video when I first showed this to you, I decided to stitch it on a navy Aida instead of black, which was how the sample was done. And I'm very happy with that decision. I think that it came out beautifully. The colors are still vibrant and the blues show up. I was a little bit concerned about the ocean part down here and whether that would look good on the navy, and I think it looks great. So there it is. I'm finished with it, and it was so much fun. So much fun to stitch. I am going to frame it, but I am not going to do it yet, and that is because it is going to have a companion. I was holding out on you guys. I had this plan already when I first made my my original video, but I didn't want to talk about my future plans because I had plenty to talk about in that first video with just the WIPs I was doing. So yeah, I am planning to do a companion piece, and that piece is also by Satsuma Street, so it's going to go beautifully together, I think, as far as the design, and it's called Mermaid Lagoon, and I'll put a picture up of what the sample looks like for that piece from her Etsy shop. So it has a really similar color palette, although actually I think only 2 or 3 of the floss colors are actually used in both. But, you know, she definitely has a style as far as the colors of floss that she uses, and the art design, I guess, is recognizable, I think. So, and since they're both ocean themed, this one, the boat, and then the mermaids and fish, I think they just pair really nicely together. So I am going to start that. I have all of the floss already, and I have the Aida. It's the other half of this navy piece I just got from a Joann Fabric. So the mermaid, I think, is slightly narrower than the boat and taller. It's taller than the boat also. So hopefully it will still fit nicely on the piece. This ended up being, I think the Aida, I cut it slightly too narrow for the boat, at least for what I had originally in mind to do with it. And that was for the way I was going to finish it off. I had envisioned actually not framing these, but rather stretching them over canvas or over a frame, you know, so that the Aida goes over the edges and there actually is no frame, but there's just structure from the back, and it looks like a cube sort of, and you know, you can see the Aida along the sides and going around the back. Do you know what I'm talking about? I'll see if I can find a picture on Google Images of something done a similar way to what I was envisioning, but I don't think it's going to work because there's not enough Aida to like work with at the sides of the boat. There would be enough at the top, I think, but if I wanted to make even a frame out of like one little 1x1 boards, the Ada wouldn't fit around. It wouldn't totally cover the sides, so I don't think I can do that idea. And I don't think that this piece of Ada, like, because this is half. This is like exactly half of the big navy piece that I got. And I don't think it will be tall enough for the mermaid, but it wouldn't be tall enough for the mermaid. Like the same problem would happen, I think, on the top and bottom of the mermaid, that there just wouldn't be enough to finish them off that way. So that's how I was going to frame them or finish them off, but I don't think that's going to work. So I will probably frame them more traditionally. I'm envisioning a white mat board and maybe a black frame around them. And that is also okay with me because my idea for these was to frame them and hang them side by side in my guest bathroom. And it's just a half bath, so there's no shower or bathtub or anything, so it's not going to get filled with steam a lot. But still, I was a little bit concerned with my original finishing idea that would leave the Ada and the stitching exposed to the room. So I was a little bit concerned about putting it in a bathroom that might be damp. I don't know, after years of that, it could possibly mold or something, and I really wouldn't want that to happen. So putting it in a real frame behind glass is probably a better idea anyway if I'm going to put them in the bathroom, which is what I'm planning to do. So the other thing that's new on this piece is I designed a signature. Maybe you noticed it when I showed it to you before, but I'll give you a close-up of that. There it is in purple. It says CECR 15, and those are my initials. I actually have 2 middle names now because I kept my last name as a maiden name when I got married. Or I kept my maiden name as a middle name. Sorry, I messed that up. I kept my maiden name as a second middle name when I got married. So I have 4 names now. And so that's my initials. That's what my channel name is also, CourtneyECR. The ECR are my last 3 initials. So, and then of course the year, so that eventually years from now when I have many, many finishes over many, many years, I can remember how old I was and what was going on in my life when I stitched this. So, and purple is my favorite color. So I just used the same purple that shows up elsewhere in the boat. So I was really proud of myself for that. And I actually spent a lot of time designing it. I thought I would show you. You guys might think this is fun. I have this piece of graph paper, and I just practiced and tried different ideas until I landed on something that I liked. So this CECR is what I actually ended up going with, although I did end up changing the 5. I didn't use this 5. I used this 5 down here instead. So this one's like awkward and angly. But I originally started out with a curly C, but I didn't end up liking that, and my husband Sam said that he didn't like it either, and I thought I'd better just start over again. And I just had to practice a little bit to figure out like what would work for like how to go up into the E and everything. And for reference here, I put my real initials. Like this is how I sign when I have to initial something. And I want it to look as similar to that as I could get it. So that was really fun to design. The second WIP I have to show you is actually a new start since last time. It's not one of the ones that I showed in my first video. I think I mentioned to you that I was going to make a new start. In my stash video, I pulled out some gray Ada and said that it was going to be used in a new start, and so this is that project. I think first I will put up a picture of the sample as displayed on the seller's site. This pattern I believe is called Anchor Love, and it's from a shop called Magic Stitching on Etsy. So I actually went looking for this with a very specific type of pattern in mind. This WIP is a gift for my husband's cousin and his wife are going to be having a baby, and so we're going to host a baby shower for her. When I say we, I mean like the entire family, not really me. It's not even going to be at my house. It's not anywhere near my house. But going to her baby shower, and the mama said that she is going to be decorating the baby's room in gray and purple, and it's going to be a nautical theme. So I went looking for a nautical cross stitch, and I came across this one on Etsy, and I thought it was pretty cute, and it looked easy enough and small enough that I could do it in a month, which is how much time I had before the shower. The shower is October 4th, I think. So anyway, I didn't look based on color because I knew I could always change out the colors, and that is exactly what I'm doing. So it's for a baby girl. They already know that she's a girl, so I'm excited to be making this for her. I have her in mind. They haven't announced a name for her yet, so otherwise I might have considered putting her name on something. But all right, so yep, I switched out the colors, and this is my progress so far. This is 14 count light gray Aida from a regular craft store. I think this particular piece was from a Hobby Lobby. And I changed the floss. There's only 3 colors in the pattern, and it's white and blue, navy blue, and pink, which those colors are actually super cute, and the baby's parents had actually considered doing the room in navy and pink, so that would have been like perfect, but they settled on gray and purple. So it was really easy because there are so few colors to switch it out and do only gray and purple. The gray is DMC 414, I think, and I do not remember what the purple is. 5 something, 534? Is that purple? Maybe. And then this white is the one that I have loads of. It's not Blanc, it's the 3865. So, which is good because there's a lot of it in this pattern in the stripes. So, I've already used a skein. Although I don't know if it's entirely fair to say that because I did use it on something else before, so I don't know if it was a full skein, but I'm out of bobbin. I have an empty bobbin in my stash now, so. I added something sparkly in here. The pattern did not call for this, but I'm using DMC Light Effects. I will make a note of what the number is down below because I can't remember right now. But it's like it's a metallic, but it's not gold or silver. It's like a black shiny one, like pewter colored, or maybe it would be called. So that's giving the anchor a nice metallic effect. I thought that turned out really well. So I am actually changing this pattern a little bit. Besides the colors, I mean, I'm not entirely happy with it, to be honest. It has some like asymmetric spots. The anchor as charted is not totally symmetric, and I understand why asymmetry matters if you're doing realism, but this piece is so simple, childlike, abstract, and I thought there's really no reason for it to be asymmetrical. I would prefer it to be symmetrical, so I made the anchor totally symmetrical, and I actually, on both of the side blocks, this one and this one that I haven't started yet, there are an odd number of columns, I think 43 columns on the chart, but both the anchor and the boat are an even number of stitches across. So it was like on the anchor on this side, I think you're supposed to have five stitches between the end of the anchor and the end of the block. But on this side, on the outer side, it was like 6 stitches. And I really saw no reason for that at all. So I'm just I'm placing the anchor symmetrically in a block with an even number of columns. So some of those things about the chart just didn't make sense to me. And I wondered if maybe the person who charted this didn't do it very carefully, possibly. I don't know. I mean, it's easy to modify, so I don't really have a big complaint. And it was only $3.95 on the Etsy shop, so it was still worth my money to have the idea, but I am having to do a little bit of modifying to make it suit my sensibilities, I guess. So, oh, and the other thing too was that the stripes on both blocks in the actual chart are like varying widths throughout the entire block, which I thought was really weird. So like they were all either 3 or 4 stitches, but there was no pattern. Like they were just 3 or 4 stitches tall. And so what I decided to do was to make the white stripes 4 stitches tall and the purple stripes 3 stitches tall. Just work that all the way down. And that would have worked, except that that leaves an orphan. If I had made this top row purple, like 3 purple stitches, and it would have left an orphan white row. I didn't think that would have really looked good, so I made this top purple 4 stitches high as well. But the rest of it will be uniform and the same on this side. I'll change it so that it is more uniform than it is in the chart. So a couple things like that about the chart I just didn't understand. But no big deal. I think it'll still be super cute when I finish with it because I'm making it exactly what I want it to be. So I'm going to frame it for the baby shower, and it'll just be a nice decoration for the baby's room. And I'll sign it too with my new signature that I designed. I'll probably always put the signature down in the bottom right. I expect. That just seems to me like a nice place it would go. Oh, and one thing I wanted to ask your opinion about as well was, do you think I should put the DMC light effects in this block at all? In the block that's not here, their boat silhouette is purple, and then the stripes are the gray and white. So I would be putting the light effects maybe intermingled in the gray stripes. So I don't know if that makes sense because they're supposed to be a background. Do I want to draw more attention to the stripes? I don't know. But also, if I only have the light effects on this side, will it look imbalanced? So tell me what you think about that in the comments. I would really appreciate it. So that's my current WIP. I'm working exclusively on this right now because I have to have it done by the baby shower, which is the first week in October. So that's that. My other WIPs, which are the linen and lace and the grapes, I have not worked on at all. And then my fourth WIP, which was the advent calendar, I have, after much deliberation, made the decision to scrap it entirely. I don't want to work on it anymore. It's not something I enjoy, so I'm not going to bother with it. So that decision is made. It's out. Not happening anymore. Thank you so much for all of your encouragement and ideas about that. You helped me realize that it's okay to let it go. It's just not me. So that concludes the update on my works in progress. I thought to round out this video, I would go ahead and do a tag. So I decided to do the Know Your Needleworker tag by Whimsy Daisical because I think it's a great introduction when you're trying to get to know other people. So I have the questions written in front of me, and I'll just go through them one by one. All right, question 1. Where do you live? I live in Texas in the United States, in the San Antonio area. So it's pretty warm here, although not quite as hot as it was about a month ago. We had weeks this summer of consistently going over 100 degrees, and it's finally cooling down. We're about in the 80s today, and that's really nice. So I've lived here for about 5 years now. I moved here to go to college, and so my family lives far away. But I got a job here after I graduated, so now I have stayed, which leads quite nicely into question 2, which is, what do you do for a living? I am an actuarial analyst at an insurance company, so it's very quantitative work, lots of numbers and logic and things. My primary responsibility is to price auto insurance. I set the rates that we charge for the various coverages of auto insurance in different locations around the United States. Not all by myself, of course. I'm on a team, and there are people who have to approve all of our decisions. So it sounds like a lot of control, but it's very deliberate, really. So, but I really love my job, and I don't know, I'm just very satisfied there. So, question 3. List at least 3 other hobbies besides cross-stitching. Let's see. When I think about things that take up my time, I don't know if you can really call it a hobby necessarily, but I do work out, and I run. So that's something I'm pretty committed to, that I spend my time on. I run usually between 10 and 20 miles a week. Very slowly. My typical mile is like maybe a 13-minute mile. So I guess really I jog. But I always jog outdoors, and there's a nice nature trail that's near my house, so I usually go there. And there's a gym at my workplace, so on a couple days a week I lift weights. I only started that this year though, because I didn't know how to before, but my husband has been an avid weightlifter for years, since high school, and so earlier this year I asked him to teach me how to lift, and so he did, and so I've been doing a routine that he helped design for me, so that takes up a lot of my time. So that's one. Fitness, I guess, although I'm not particularly buff or anything, which I'm fine with. Another hobby I would have to say is board games, and that's not just me, but me and my husband and a couple of different groups of friends that we have will frequently play games when we get together, and not just Monopoly and Scrabble, but we're into the Euro games scene, kind of, lots of modern board games. We were hooked with Ticket to Ride, and I highly recommend that as a family game if any of you are looking for something on family nights. It's great for kids, I would say maybe like age 7 and up. So that one was awesome, and then since then we've kind of just followed it along and gotten into a lot of other kinds of modern board games. So we really enjoy that, and it's great because it's social, but so you can share it with other people in your life. So, and then a third hobby, I don't know. At the moment, I'm playing fantasy football with a group of mostly family members and a friend or two. That's not necessarily my hobby, though. It's really more of Sam's hobby, but I'm getting into it this year. Football season just started here in the United States, so I've had 2 games now. This is my second weekend doing that, and I lost miserably the first weekend, but I'm hoping to do better the second weekend. So football is always on. If there's an NFL game, it's on at our house, so that's kind of like a hobby that I can't help. So, do you have any children? Question number 4. No, I do not have children. I am married, but we do not have kids. We're both working a lot, and we're trying to get our financial feet under us, paying off some student loans and things, and it's not the right time, but we do want some in the not too distant future. Question 5, do you have any pets? Yes, I do. I have one cat. Her name is Ahsoka, and that Sam picked that name for her. It's from Star Wars, The Clone Wars, which is an animated series that takes place between episode 2 and episode 3. Ahsoka in that series is Anakin's Padawan. So he really liked that character and thought it was a cool name, so we named our cat that when we adopted her. She is about 1.5 years old. Yeah, 1.5 years old right now. And she's a sweetheart to me. She doesn't always like other people. But I think she's awesome. Question 6. Do your friends think you're crazy for cross-stitching? Honestly, not a lot of my friends know how deeply I am into this hobby. Only one friend even knows that I post on YouTube at all. And that was just because, I kind of couldn't avoid telling her because she was like, what did you record? Because Sam mentioned that I was recording something, and so then I had to tell her. Not that I want to keep it a secret or anything. I just haven't told anybody really. So they do know that I cross stitch, but I don't think they know how much time it takes or anything. And I think they just think it's cool, kind of crafty, I guess. But when I'm with them, I don't talk about it really, and so I don't think they think I'm crazy. So, and I don't spend a whole lot of money on it. At least I haven't to date. So Sam is totally fine with it too. All right, question 7. Who inspired you to start a YouTube channel? Everybody that I've watched on FlossTube has inspired me to do this. I got introduced to FlossTube because I'm part of the Reddit cross-stitch community, reddit.com/r/cross-stitch. Lots of people post WIP updates there, pictures of their progress, and that's primarily what I go there for. Or you can ask questions if you are stuck on something. I don't know, it's a very friendly community. But someone on that forum posted a link to Carolyn's video about her parking technique. And so I followed that link and I watched that video, which was awesome, of course. Carolyn, if you ever watch this, thank you for making that video. I'm sure a lot of people have told you that before, but I'm yet another person who benefited from that. I had no idea how to park before I watched that video. I'd heard of it. It sounded super confusing to me, but you really broke it down and just made it very accessible. So I haven't tried it yet, but I have a couple of projects in mind that I would like to use the parking technique on. So anyway, that's how I found FlossTube, but I didn't stay just with Carolyn's videos. She was the first one that I watched, but through her I discovered so many other stitchers on YouTube. I just couldn't even name them all. And since I started putting these videos up, I've discovered even more of you because you've commented on my videos, so I go to your channels and check you out. And I don't know, I've probably watched videos from like 30 or 40 of you, to be honest, in the past 6 weeks or so, 2 months, I guess, since I learned that this community was a thing. So you guys are wonderful and you all inspired me. That is the diplomatic yet true answer to that question. So, number 8, what do you do while you're cross-stitching? I primarily watch Netflix. My husband and I usually sit together and watch something, and I cross-stitch, and he, who knows, I don't know, sometimes he just sits there, sometimes he's on his computer. But I learned how to stitch years ago, but I picked it back up again because I had been watching a lot of TV lately, and I thought, man, this is a lot of time kind of going down the drain. I should do something productive with my hands. So I picked up cross stitch again, and that was about 2 years ago, and I never looked back. So I watch TV shows, or not TV, but Netflix and stuff primarily. I haven't really listened to very many audiobooks, but I think that's a great idea. I might try that sometime. Anyway, so, or I'll stitch sometimes if people are over and we're just sitting there talking, because I still feel like I can engage in the conversation and stitch a little bit. So I've done that a couple times before. I don't really like to just sit there and just cross stitch. I enjoy having something for both my hands and my mind to do. So, favorite movie. I don't think these next few questions are very fair, honestly, because how can you pick? But nevertheless, I have picked two, I guess, that come to mind as favorites, and that is, first of all, Singing in the Rain, which is an older musical. Love that movie. And secondly, That Thing You Do is another one of my favorites. That one is a Tom Hanks movie, an older one of his, but that one is fantastic as well. I would recommend both of those to anybody who wants to just enjoy a movie. There is no stress in any of them, really. They're just fun. And TV shows, favorite TV shows. I think, rather than tell you my favorite TV shows, because I don't even know, I'll tell you what I'm watching now. I'm watching Gilmore Girls through on Netflix right now. That's great. When we're together, Sam and me, we watch MASH. We're watching that on Netflix. Recently, I wrapped up the latest season of Orange is the New Black. Thought that was great. Together, he and I have watched every episode of House of Cards. Those are just a few. I watched Game of Thrones. He's kind of not into it, like on principle. He's never tried it, but he doesn't want to get on that bus. So I watched Game of Thrones. I watched Mad Men as it aired. I loved that one. That was great. I still am addicted to Grey's Anatomy and have also kind of become hooked on the other TGIT shows from Shonda Rhimes. She's incredible, but Scandal is kind of my guilty pleasure, and How to Get Away with Murder is interesting also. It's a newer show, but pretty interesting. So that's a few of them. Nothing super sophisticated. Oh, Breaking Bad. We loved Breaking Bad. That might be like the last few episodes of Breaking Bad were some of the best television I've ever seen in my life. Favorite type of music. I listen to mostly country. That's probably not a surprise. I live in Texas. It's ubiquitous here. And even before I moved to Texas, it was a big part of my life. My dad grew up kind of on a farm. My mom liked country music as a kid, so both of them played that in my household growing up. And so I love it. And I listen to that. I do wish the stations here played more older country. I feel like I'm hearing the same songs again and again, and it's always the ones that have come out in the last month. And so I wish there was a little bit more scattered in from previous years, but that's just my opinion. Favorite book? I don't know. I don't know what my favorite book is. I have a lot of them, but I don't know if I can pick a favorite. Some of the ones on my bookshelf that I love are Jane Austen. That's great. Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card. The Time Traveler's Wife. That one was fun to read. The Giver. I read that one out loud to my husband. He'd actually read it before, but I never have, so that was pretty cool. We read out loud together a lot. Maybe I should have listed that as a hobby. I have the Game of Thrones books. The 5th one isn't there because it's upstairs because I'm supposed to be reading it, although I haven't made a lot of progress on that lately. I have another bookshelf over there that has the Chronicles of Narnia and his Dark Materials books, and Redwall, some other like kind of young readers, like from my childhood. Ella Enchanted, Harry Potter, The Hunger Games. I'm not super sophisticated with my taste in books, but that's a few. And then what word best describes you? Seriously, whimsidaisical? I don't know. Ask my friends. I would say right now it's content. And I don't know if that's really about my personality, but that's a total description of my life, my attitude toward my life right now. I'm very happy with where I'm at, with the things that I have, the things that occupy my time. And I kind of strive to keep that attitude toward my life. You know, I think you're bound to be much happier in life if you choose to be content, you know, and enjoy just where you are, I guess, living in the present. So content is my word. So that wraps up the Know Your Needleworker tag. And that was everything that I wanted to say today. So thank you so much for spending this time with me. I really appreciate, especially those of you who make it all the way to the end. But I hope that maybe you got some good stitching done while you were watching this. That would make me really happy to know that people watched my video while they were stitching. So if you did, you should leave a comment and let me know. It will brighten my day. So until next time, happy stitching.